And the second thing that I want to ask today is how important is Bak Chor in Bak Chor Mee? I think I can name like 5 things that I consider more important despite Bak Chor being in the title of the dish. Things like noodle texture, things like sauce, things like pork liver, things like quality of sambal, things like whether there's1号干脆米爆都要谢谢 Thank you. Welcome back to the best Bak Chor Mee, and today we are starting at an Ubi Industrial Park at Sheng Road Chor Mee. I cannot believe this is my first time shooting at an industrial park. And we have a surprisingly expensive Bak Chor Mee to start with today. $6.50 at an industrial park. We do have a lot of frills though. We got some sliced meat, meatball, mushrooms, 2 huge wontons. Although there's this like streaks of white in the wonton. It looks like uncooked though, but it cannot possibly be. I'm not sure what either. Anyway, let's start. The objective today is to be stricter with the Bak Chor Mee, but I'm not sure if we can do that. Bak Chor Mee really very nice. Very good texture on the noodles. It's not necessarily Q, but you can definitely feel the crinkle. You see all these curves like tangled wires. Biting it is like going a lap on Rainbow Road. And then the taste, very sambal forward, with a very heavy shrimpy fishy umami. There is vinegar, but it is so strong that I can barely taste the vinegar. It's only in the minced meat at the bottom that the vinegar becomes very obvious. A lot of other toppings like the mushrooms, meatballs and dumplings, but they are average for the most parts. And now to the parts that aren't average. Noodles are a little bit dry. You can see when I want to slurp, right, it just doesn't want to come. I kind of have to shovel it. It is so dry that at some parts, right, you can feel the sandy texture of sambal on the surface of the noodles. And when you do try to swallow it, it doesn't slide. Not terribly dry by any means, but comparing to the previous Bak Chor Mees, this mee definitely stands out. And of course, one more miss is that, although for $6.50 they are very generous on the ingredients, you get a lot of sides, they are surprisingly stingy with the dried sole. You get a 1 cm x 3 mm piece as compared to fancy. It could be intentional that they don't want this flavor to be too strong, but I would have liked it. And throwing some lard in there at the same time. There is not a single piece, I think. I'm not sure if I accidentally ate one, but I couldn't find any. Can you see any on the screen? Quite a bit said on the miss, but I'll be lying if I said that this is not a really enjoyable bowl of noodles. Which is like, where do we draw the line? I'm a bit blinded by my love of the dish. I'm almost wishing like, let's have some lousy ones in here so that we can make some distinction. Maybe the next place is lousy. I'll see you guys there. Bak Chor Mee 米爆吃，要辣，呀，一碗，谢谢。We are now at Macpherson minced meat noodles, one of the top 5, top 7 most recommended. They have a few interesting options like chicken feet and pig trotters, but I'm only here for the Bak Chor Mee today. We got a pretty standard lineup: pig liver, minced meat, fish cake, sliced meats, lard, no tipo. Even got a loose piece of garlic skin. I'm guessing from the braising of the mushrooms. Let's see how this goes. Am I priming myself? Why do I get what I wish for? We start with the good parts. Very porky. Maybe the most porky one so far. Part of it is the lard, part of it is the slices of liver, and the biggest part of it is that when you pick the noodles up, the minced meat actually wants to follow. This might be the first Bak Chor Mee this series that the minced meat is carried with the noodles. I'm not sure, I have to go and look at the tape. And what that means is that in this aspect, you got 3 different flavors of pork in your bowl. Noodle texture pretty average, quite cute, quite bouncy, but nothing too outstanding. And then we come to the misses. The flavor of the noodles is shallower, or at the very least different. It's primarily a sauce-based flavor. less of the sambal. It's a mix of soy sauce, the braising juices from the mushrooms, and the alkaline taste of the noodles. So it makes for a light, tasty flavor profile. It may be what they intended, but in this instance, I feel like the sambal is very muted. You know what? It's not a miss. I think some people might prefer this. What I think people will not prefer is the doneness of the pork liver. You can see that it's pretty overdone. I will try to shake it around for you. It's pretty stiff, and if I show you the cross section, it's entirely grey. While the doneness of pork liver is important, I'm not sure how much weightage I want to give it. Cause we are talking a window of seconds, which means that the very next person in queue, right, might have a better pork liver than me. It will be a big hit if it's thick cut and the doneness is just right, but I want to say it's not too big a miss if it's thin and overdone. Or is that too lenient? I'll think about it. I'll see you guys at the next place. 给我一个bak chor mee 干的吃。
椒醋可以。
都可以，谢谢。谢谢。We are now at Eunos for the literally famous Eunos Bak Chor Mee. This place is known for their soup version. In fact, I think it's fabled to be one of the pioneers of the soup version. From what I've read, the Bedok ones trace their origin to this stall. But we are not doing the soup version in this series. For obvious reasons, it's just too far to be compared. So I got their dry one, which two interesting things. We get wonton. Just looking at this side by side, does it feel like wonton mee series? And two, at first I thought, wow, there's very little bak chor in the noodles. And the reason is because they have put all of it into the soup. So we have a good 100 grams of bak chor in this soup. I'm very interested in how it tastes. But first, could it be that bak chor mee is supposed to be like this? The first thing that stands out is that I feel like this is the first time in the series that I am eating bak chor or minced meat. In the previous versions, they usually get lost in the sauce, with the exception of Macpherson, in which case it was still not very significant. But when you have it prime and center like that in the soup, it has a really nice texture. All of the minced meat grouped together to have this very fluffy texture to it. Not to mention it adds a lot of porkiness to the soup. You're literally eating pork. But still, it's a very light soup. Don't be thinking that it's like bak kut teh or tonkotsu. But it is what I want. A nice cleansing soup with the sweetness of pork. Not only that, I think I taste Thong chai, which is a kind of preserved vegetables. From what I understand, it is a very authentic ingredient in this kind of Teochew noodle soup, but you rarely ever see it nowadays. It has this salty, preserved vegetables kind of taste. The dumplings are minced meat for the most part, but nothing too special, especially coming from the wonton mee series. And then we move on to the noodles. It's primarily a lard, shallot oil, garlic oil kind of base. The flavors is brought about by the oils, as compared to sauces of sambal that we have seen earlier. They do ask you if you want vinegar, but I can detect very little of it. They are using it only as an accent. And vinegar preference, as I've learned, is all over the place when it comes to bak chor mee. Like 21% of you like it light to none, where you can barely taste it. A majority of you like it medium, where you can taste it but it's not overpowering. And then there are those of you who like it heavy, cause vinegar with noodles is so appetizing. Here I want to say they are light to none. And so is their sambal. I cannot say that it's particularly obvious. They go more like a Chong Suan Xiang. But there is one miss. Noodles are a little overcooked. I think you can sort of tell that it's soft. And there is a decent amount of excess starch on the noodles. If I pull it up, you can see like this shiny sticky texture, which I forgot to mention. Macpherson actually had the rinsing step. I managed to spy. So they have a tub of water, constantly being replaced by running water, for them to both cool and wash off the excess starch. If you don't do that step, it's more likely that your noodles are going to overcook because of carryover heat, and your starch is going to remain on the noodle, causing it to be more sticky. Sorry I had to repeat all that. You all probably heard it a lot of times in the wonton mee series. For the new people, and if you're new here, this is the part where it's cafe o'clock, so I'll see you guys there. We are now at Simplicity. Hopefully I pronounced it right. And I got their iced rosé latte. This cup is hilarious. And the petals too. I ordered it only because it's their signature. Let's give this a go. This is kopi and bandung, but balanced really well. You can taste the notes of the coffee, and it's accompanied by this very friendly, milky rosé flavor, or otherwise known as bandung. I like this. I don't like the price, but I like this. Anyway, recap. We explored more misses today, yap a bit, but in the end what happened? I still finished every bowl. Confession time. In the previous series when it's like 1 plate or 0 plate, right? I'm very tempted to sometimes just leave it. But Bak Chor Mee is just so nice. What's interesting to me is that I'm more aware of what I like now. Previously, I understand Bak Chor Mee as the golden combination of sambal, soy sauce, vinegar and lard. But even just in the second episode of the series, we can see how certain noodles lean more towards one side, more towards the sambal, more towards the lard, and the bowl that we just had more towards the oil. There is perhaps a factor that you all can use to find your favorite Bak Chor Mee. I'm undecided for now. I like all of them. The ideal scenario would be for all of them to be in harmony, like before the Fire Nation attacked. And the second thing that I want to ask today is, how important is Bak Chor in Bak Chor Mee? I think I can name like 5 things that I consider more important, despite Bak Chor being in the title of the dish. Things like noodle texture, things like sauce, things like pork liver, things like quality of sambal, things like whether there's fried lard or tipo, all of which I consider more important than Bak Chor. Is that bad? It's theoretically bad, right? Like I said 1,000 times now, I consider the name to be very important in defining how a dish should be judged. But is it my fault that most places don't put Bak Chor in the front and center? Something to think about for the coming weeks, but for now, what we had today. 1 plate I'll walk for the Bak Chor Mee, 2 plates I'll take a bus for the Bak Chor Mee, and 3 plates I'll go anywhere in the city for the Bak Chor Mee. And the Bak Chor Mee is today's get. 222. I cannot do it. I cannot bring myself to give the 1 plate. I have a feeling that I should. Giving a 1 plate to something that I gobbled up doesn't sit quite right with me. These ratings are getting convoluted with my love for the dish. So do with that what you will. But for now, that's all I have for you guys this time. I will see you all next week in the South. Bye!